Hello and welcome back to the PR show, a strong opinion in a strong voice. I'm sitting here with my wonderful friend, Pastor Marjorie James, who is going to share with us something wonderful about her life, something uplifting, encouraging, and just all around hopeful for everyone to hear. So welcome, Marjorie. Thank you for joining me.
It is a pleasure, and I'm actually excited to be back on here again.
That's right.
Yes, it's a privilege because, most importantly, because I enjoy talking to you. You're such an inspiration to me.
For you as well.
And a role model in so many things.
Aww.
Like, yeah. And my biggest support ever. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I can never stop talking to people about how you trained me into the late of the night, about 6-7 hours. Nobody usually does that.
You know, I have no recollection of the whole thing at all. Really? Except for you telling me. I remember we did have the training session, but I didn't notice about the time flying at all. So yeah, but I'm glad
I didn't realize as well the time was flying. It's only later than I realized, oh wow, because we started at 11 and we went up until I think it was about 4 a.m. Dubai time, and it was about that time.
Oh wow, okay, that's right, because you were in Dubai at the time. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So my story, I believe I have a very interesting story because I got born again at the age of 10. At the age of 10. And I have a twin sister, and my twin sister and I were in the same school, in the same class. And our class teacher was actually a very good friend with my dad. And so we had this lesson that was called the Christian religious education in the school. And he was talking about salvation and things like that. At the end of it, he asked if anybody wanted to give their life to Jesus. And we did go, and we went. And then we were excited. We went back home and we told our mom what we'd done. So then, after a while, then my mom started taking us to the baptism classes, because of course, after you give your life to Jesus, or the baptism classes, we did the baptism and everything, and that was it. We knew what we were doing, because I remember till now very, very well. And then after going to the baptism classes and all. However, I can't say eventually that, but I still went to church because we come from a Christian background. We still went to church, even when my mom and my dad would travel here and there, and that they would not be at home for weekends. You know how sometimes the parents would go away on a weekend?
Yeah.
I'm still the one who used to drag everybody to go to church.
Okay.
And I was always part of an activity in the church, because I'm a very hyperactive person, by the way. I'm just usually very active. So yeah, so that was it until then, of course, as life would have it, getting into high school and then going to Dubai at the age of 21. So
you are from originally, if you want to tell the audience, you are from Kenya originally, right?
Yes, originally from Kenya, yeah. Originally from heaven, and then I transited to Kenya.
That's right. You were dropped in Kenya.
Dropped in amazing Kenya, yeah. So that when we got to high school, then of course I think growing up, and then there's this peer pressure and all these things. We still went to church. I still did go, but I wasn't as active in there as I was previously growing up. I was still there. It was just became like, I think Sundays, okay, religiously Sunday, I'm there. Stuff. I was still in the youth. I was still leading the youth with the worship and things like that. But yeah, and coming into Dubai now, then later on at the age of 21.
What prompted you to go to Dubai?
The thing is, I really did want to fly. Actually, I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
I wanted to be a pilot, so I was very interested in being a pilot. Then I was thinking to myself, so how am I going to be a pilot? So I said, I've got to start somewhere. So I did try to to apply for jobs as an air hostess in Kenya Airways, but I didn't cut it through. I think it's because at the time I only had like a diploma level of education. I didn't have a degree at the time.
Do they require a degree to be a student?
Oh yes,
really?
That is part of the requirement. Yeah.
Not everywhere, I'm sure.
Not everywhere, absolutely not everywhere, because I actually tell people this is actually part of, you have to have a degree. I don't know why they,
wow.
It used to be part of the requirements that you submit. Yeah, so if they look at it, I don't know, but it used to be. Either way, still I applied anyway. That was none of my business, but I still didn't get through. So I assumed, okay, I said, okay, well, maybe I didn't have a degree, and that's why they didn't take me. So then I was like, one day I was working as a customer service supervisor at a mobile phone company and in the CBD at the city center. So I've always had a thing with my hair. My hair has to look good. I don't like shabby hair. If it's not perfect, if it's not good, I'd rather tie it up, but it cannot look messy. So what I would do is, like, for the weekend, I wouldn't do anything to my hair over the weekend, but every Monday morning, I'd rather go to the city center in the morning, book an appointment with the hairdresser. I'm there at 7 a.m. You get my hair done so that the entire week my hair is perfect.
For the whole week.
Yeah. So I would go in on Monday so that my hair is sorted for, and it's good for the whole week. So this Monday, I'm sitting there, I'm at the salon, my hair is getting done, and I'm reading the newspaper and I'm seeing about Emirates Airline. I'm just wondering, Emirates Airline, what's this all about? And I'm like,
was it still in Kenya or was it in Dubai already?
It was in Kenya. Yeah. So I'm thinking Emirates Airline. I'm like, what is this about? I'm like, then I'm seeing flight attendant jobs, blah, 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 flying cabin crew. I was like, maybe I should try. Then I tried to talk myself out of it. I was like, well, Kenya Airways haven't accepted me. What makes me think an international company will? So, and I'm thinking to myself, actually, the day I was reading that newspaper was the last day of submission.
Wow, okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I can't do it. My hair is almost done. It's 7:30. I need to be at the office by 8 o'clock. I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? I told myself, the only way for me to do this is to resign.
Wow, okay.
So I quit my job. I didn't go upstairs because I was getting my hair downstairs, the same building. So instead of going upstairs, I was like, you know what, that's it. I'm not going there. I said, I've got to apply this job. This is my job. And I'm going to Dubai. I don't care Kenya Airways accepted me or not. So I quit my job before getting another job. I know it's crazy, but I had this strong conviction that I have to do it.
I'm glad you followed your conviction.
And I know it would seem crazy. So then I did apply, because that time to the old style, you have to go to the cyber cafe to send application to the email and things like that. And of course, as Africa would have it, the internet is very slow. So yeah. I did all the application. I asked this guy to help me out, took pictures, all those things. So I'm there and I'm thinking, so I leave, and so I said to him, why don't you print out for me this resume I've given to you so that I keep it with me? So I get out of there, told them, okay, make 2 copies for me. So I get out of there and I'm walking and I'm thinking to myself, something is not right about that application. Maybe the internet is slow and nothing has happened to it. So I decided to take it out of the envelope. I'm sitting at a coffee shop, which is actually directly outside my office. Remember, this is about 11 p.m. I've just quit my job. I haven't told my boss yet I'm not coming. And I'm sitting at the coffee shop across my office. Because now I'm heading there to tell him that, okay, I'm not coming back. Because already I've decided I've quit. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at that resume and I'm thinking, bugger, I haven't put my phone number here. So the other one has gone. I was like, but I still had a feeling it didn't go through. So I took a black pen and scribbled my number on the resume, and I decided to take a walk all the way to the Emirates office and give them my resume by hand.
Wow.
So I did. I went all the way to, this is quite a bit of a stretch. And as it is, I'm a fan of high heels like you are. So imagine I was in the CBD strutting with high heels all the way down there. Of course, I didn't have a car at the time. I got there. I found this guy there and I said to him, would you please give this to your outgoing mail to Dubai for me, for you to go to Dubai? So fast forward, the interview time came after about 2 months, I think, because I had my contacts and my mom's contacts. But that weekend, I'd gone out of the city with my sister. So my phone happened to be off. But so now they called the second number, they called my mom. So my mom is looking for us. We are thinking, oh my God, we're in trouble because we went out of the city. But that was not it. My mom said, okay, they need you for an interview. I'm like, what interview? I've completely forgotten now. Yeah. So then I come back in and Emirates. I was like, wow. So I'm nervous. I'm like thinking, oh my God. So fast forward to the day of the interview. I go for the interview and I'm there. I'm all nervous. My mom has bought me a suit and I'm thinking we were about 70 people on that day, 70. So I get in there and I'm thinking there's like a bunch of about 20 Kenya Airways crew. They're talking about everything about Emirates Airline. And I'm thinking, I don't know anything about the airline. I just know it's in Dubai. That's all. And I'm thinking, so I decided, you know what? They won't let me walk out of here. I decided to decamp from them and stay on the side by myself. I said, I came here by myself. I'm not going to listen to other voices. So my turn for the interview came, and I went there. Of course, they have to do the height and weight thing, weighing you out and all. So I'm there and I look at the resume, which is there. Which one did they use? Is the one that I gave by hand.
Mm-hmm.
So my conviction was right. The other one with the internet, it didn't go through.
Didn't go through.
Yeah. So this is what the very important thing about this is people should know that their conviction is never wrong. When that voice interviews you and nudges you and tells you this is not, you're not crazy.
That's right.
You know, I always say our stomach is like the second brain. When you just feel it at the pit of your stomach, you feel like something is really not, quite with it.
Yeah.
Believe it, because that is you, that is the Holy Spirit speaking to you. And anyone who's not a believer, I don't know what you would say, but I always say the tummy is your second brain, So anyway, and that's what happened. And at the end of the day, we did the interview. There were 70 of us. At the end of the day, the downside is everybody were just left 3 people. And I was I was the second one out of the 3.
Wow.
Imagine. And that's how I went to Dubai.
Did they even ask you any questions?
No, they just asked me why I wanted to travel. I said, because I enjoy traveling, I enjoy interacting with people, and I'd like to travel out of the country. And to be fair, if I look at it, I don't even think it really mattered because there were so many people.
I think it's the way you came across.
Yeah, there were so many people. And one thing, by the way, they were really, really particular about appearance.
Mm-hmm.
That is top, right? Appearance, how you've done your makeup, how you're dressed up, if the posture and all these things. Because I later on looked at I happened to bump into one of the ladies now when I was flying. Then I asked her what they look at, and what you and I were talking about earlier is about posture, how you express yourself, how you speak, how you're responding to questions. You see, if you're in a team, how are you giving others a chance? Those little things that people tend to overlook. So those are the things that happen. So, and then still part of my life, because now I was in shock, and I'm in the Middle East now. Okay, I'm in Dubai, and then so the church bit, me going to church broke a little bit for about 2 years by the time I got to another church.
Oh wow, okay.
Because now in my mindset, I'm thinking, oh, it's a Muslim country, there's nothing like a church. Listen, what people have said, because even people back home, they used to make fun of me and say, oh, so do you have your burqa? The burqa?
Yeah, the burqa, yeah.
Oh,
I have two. I bought it in Dubai. I don't wear them here, but when I go to like Abu Dhabi and places like this, I sometimes wear them. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, they're actually very beautiful. They're actually very
I have one with gold.
Gold and
here, and also at the bottom, and I have one with silver.
Yeah, they're actually very big. So we used to think like, oh, there's no church in Dubai, there's nothing. But then because I lived in an apartment, I was sharing an apartment with 2 Kenyan girls, and one of them had found a church, and then she told me about it. Oh, so I joined the church in 2004 because I went to Dubai in 2002, and then I joined the church in 2004, and it was nice. It was exciting. It was multicultural because Dubai is very cosmopolitan. So I was there as well, but though I wasn't as active and involved as I'd normally be, because number one, out of flying, you're working on a shift pattern, the schedules are different. So you're definitely, and weekends in Dubai were on Fridays. So it's not a guarantee that you are going to be in Dubai on Friday to attend the church or something like that. But still, I went once in a while, and then at one point it broke. But it reached a point, the moment you have started a journey with God, no matter what you do, and no matter how far you go, God will bring you back.
Yeah.
You will definitely come back, because it's just that relationship. As he says, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. Because, and unfortunately, sometimes it takes some things to happen in life, then you start asking yourself questions.
Yeah.
So ask yourself questions. And then I went back to church, and I started going back, and just slowly, and then building myself up and going back slowly, and going back in there slowly, and going back in there slowly, until now I went back in fully. Now, people should know that regardless of what circumstances and situations you have gone through in life, that is not who you are. Those are just things that you walked into. They might not be very good things, but I believe nobody gets up in the morning and says, okay, I'm going to go out there and mess up my life. Nobody makes that decision. Sadly, and I speak of myself, and I'm not going to be hypocritical about it, I have gotten myself into a hot mess, I have to say. And actually in Dubai, not in Dubai, I've gotten myself into a hot mess. And I was thinking, how did I even get here? I know better. And this just came out of just having the wrong company.
Yeah.
Having the wrong company, because I ended up being collateral damage because of people's madness. And it took me a very long time to drag myself out of that. So that's why I always say there's 3 things people need to be very careful about: things, people, and places. If it is not adding value to you, cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off. Like, I really like your topic last Tuesday, cutting off the negative people, even things, people, and places. These things need to be cut off, because it will, coming out of that madness, honestly, it takes like a whole toll of your life.
Yeah.
And that you start fixing things that you didn't break yourself. And then you become, and as the world, how the world would have it sometimes, sadly, some people don't know better to think of you differently, because people will definitely associate you with those people who did those things that got you into a mess. Nobody's going to believe that, okay, well, maybe you were collateral damage. Later on, maybe they will, but I'm one person, I really don't care what people think about me. I know myself. But if somebody, if you're going to be thinking of future prospects, if let's say you want to succeed in business or things like that, or even in anything that you're doing in your career and associates coming up ahead, things, people, and places is something people need to look out for, because they can
company is certainly number 1 that can get you into trouble. I mean, you cannot overemphasize that, but at least you learn your lesson, and now you can teach others out of that experience.
Yes, I did learn my lesson, unfortunately the hard way, and I'm glad that God took me out of it, and I came out of it unscathed, and I'm here to tell a story, So what I usually tell people, no matter how deep down you go to, when you realize you are at the wrong place, get up, make that
turn
decision.
around. It's never too late to turn around, is it?
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
And God will always take you from where you left and will tell you and hold your hand and say, okay, here we are, let's go back. Let's continue where we left. Because he knows that you've made a mistake, and the most important thing, you've repented, you've changed your ways, you've gone there now.
That's right.
And you say, I want to make amends. The moment you just say that, and he will walk with you.
That's right.
And he doesn't remember the past. He doesn't look at you as that way.
That's right. Your past doesn't define you.
He doesn't define you, and he doesn't look at that. He wants the best for you. And that's why I was reading my Bible the other day, and I was studying something. I came across someone put this narrative very well, that how he understood that why Jesus washed the disciples' feet before he left. It was a significance of something for future impact, for greater impact, because he knows in the world we are going to walk into places and things and get into muddy waters that we probably did not want to. And so basically, when he washed the disciples' feet, it says that ideally, basically, he has already washed your feet. You can always come back and serve him. Because your feet basically, it's like they sort of symbolize you. Because your feet, this is you, because they carry you, your life.
That's right. It's wherever you go, there your feet are.
Exactly. Yeah.
They take you to places, and the Bible talks about how important feet are.
Yes.
The peaceful people who are bringing good tidings of great joy.
Exactly. And it says your word is a lamp unto my feet.
That too, yeah. A lot of scriptures, yeah.
The lamp is revelation, the feet is your life representing you. So and that illustration, I was like, wow, that actually makes sense. I had never thought about it that way, to be honest. But it did make sense. I know people understand the Bible very differently. I'm not saying that this me who says this and so it's right. But it's something that I thought worth sharing to people. They should understand it as well. So no matter how far you have gone, God will always bring you back.
That's
and
right.
he will always clean you up. You will never look like the past. You will never look like, you will not even smell of any smoke or
That's right.
fires or any splinters, and he will clean you up, and his glory is going to radiate into you. Now, as you have it, the enemy will always try to pull you down when you get back with God.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you have to know and stand up. I like something that you always teach quite a lot yourself as well: identity. Identity. You have to know who you are. You have to know your right standing with God. Because I remember now, fast forward again, after I just started disconnecting from these people, and then I decided, no, I want better for myself, because I realized I was the one who was equipping people and helping people, but I realized no one is helping me. I said, I don't mind helping people, but what about me? I'm moving, and what about me? So
I
said,
think it's quite it's not very unusual for someone who is on your level or on mine, for instance, to find ourselves sort of alone. Not lonely, but if you look around, there's nobody on your level. And it really doesn't depend on the country very much. Because
exactly.
here, I don't have anyone on my level. Everybody's looking to me to help them, to learn from, to train them. Nothing wrong with that. But I believe we have talked about it earlier, in the other shows, that we don't really, people like you and I don't really have relationships on like an equal footing.
Yes.
And I think it's not necessarily bad. It's not bad. It's not something you do. It's something that happens because you have outgrown everybody.
Yes.
I can tell from my experience that, to me, that's completely normal. I had a best friend and we were on the same level, both very, very Christian, like very Christian, meaning like we were so fire on the Lord. It was in my early 20s. And I have outgrown her since. And of course, I moved around. I moved to different countries. So of course, that adds to it, the life experience and things like that. And even though I tried to seek her out, we were no longer on the same page. I mean, not even spiritually, in terms of how much I have grown compared to her. Nothing wrong with that, probably. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying that I was trying to literally seek out that relationship to see if I can help her. And we were no longer on the same page. We didn't understand We didn't understand each other anymore. She didn't understand the very most basic things that basic to us, you and I, because of our connection with Apostle. They didn't understand even the first, step of that. I'm like, okay, that I don't know what else to say to you. This is what it is. So I basically, I wouldn't say I cut her off, but I realized, and I have tried time and again to bring her along. Just like a few years ago, it wasn't that long time ago, and we were no longer on the same page. And I finally had to realize, you know what? That's what it is. There's nothing I can do. And I didn't miss her. That's not why I sought her out. But I just thought, you know what? I owe her to, to try to bring her along.
Yes, exactly.
And sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes it's like a human effort. So I can totally relate to what you said. I don't have anybody on my level, but I'm quite used to it. I would be very surprised if I even find anybody ever.
I just I've tried it as well. I've tried it as well. I've tried to bring people that I thought they were my friends. I've tried to bring them. I've even tried to say, hey, listen, this is what you should do. What should do? I'm trying to. I realized. Then they start repelling themselves. Actually, they start repelling. Then, which goes back to I think either on Wednesday. Anyway, just sometime this week, I was teaching about passion and prudence. Jesus said it in the book of Luke 12, I think verse 49, and he said, "I have come to set a fire." And the reason he brings that fire is that passion on the inside of you, because it's the dividing line. It separates even families, yourself, and friends. They don't have the same passion as you have. You will separate from them because you cannot work together unless you agree.
You know what this reminds me of? I'm so glad Apostle always used Apostle Charles and Deacon that we talk about, our men of God. So, and father in faith. And what I have, he made a wonderful sentence, and because he many times speaks in pictures, it stays with me longer. So he says, you cannot journey together if you are a Ferrari with a bicycle. because you are not in the same category. You're not even in the same dimension. One doesn't understand the speed of the other. And there's no point for you as a Ferrari to slow down to a bicycle, because the bicycle will never understand the Ferrari. And the Ferrari used to be a bicycle, but it's no longer. So you can understand them, but they can't understand you. And yeah,
exactly. And if you look at it, they're equipped differently.
Yeah.
The horsepower on the Ferrari and the bicycle, so they're equipped differently. So nothing against it, but they have to disconnect.
Yeah, they bound to disconnect. There's nothing, there's no future for them together.
Yeah. So that's what it is. So and I realized, you know what, I need to disconnect myself from people, and it was tough. And I remember at one point I was like, I miss them, maybe I should. But I had to really, like I always say, I call myself into a meeting and tell myself, hey, no, you can't do this. So I put in a column, I said, I have to write the good and the bad. So, and the good has to outweigh the bad. If it doesn't, you're out. So unfortunately, the good was 1, 2, the bad was like 60 or whatever. I'm like, no, out. You know, and unfortunately, we have to make those decisions sometimes, because wherever you are going, I call it like in the aviation embargo, when you are rising higher, you cannot overload that aircraft with excess baggage.
That's right.
You won't fly higher. You won't fly higher, and not, and like now going back again to the Ferrari and the bicycle, because not everyone is equipped like you are, not everyone is equipped like I am. Like for me, how I'm equipped, I'm a tough cookie. And I'm more relatable to be the eagle. We fly in storms. We reign in thunderstorms and lightning and so and rain. And when there's like chaos, this is where we stand out.
That's right. That's our natural.
That's our natural habitation. And that's why, thank God for Apostle Charles. That's why you find I reign under him, because he doesn't joke. I don't know if people know this. He doesn't joke. You know, maybe people can just see it, he's laughing and smiling. I have my own share of telling off that I get. And you see, it's not because he doesn't love me. It's not because he doesn't like what I'm doing. No, but if he has to give you feedback, you know it very well, Reka, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But it's for the best. And it's for the good. It is for your destiny. So it's going to be one of those ways that it's going to build you up one way or another.
Right. A coach is the toughest within a team, the toughest on the one who has the most potential, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the rest, you did very well. But you should have done better. And even though you're the first, you should have.
True. Yeah. So where was I? Yes. So now then, after I disconnect myself from these people, and then I can tell you, because I had been a supervisor for, I think, almost 7 years, and I was like, no, I need to move, because I realized I was not moving. I was stagnant. And I was like, no, something has to change.
Even within the world, in career paths, you see that they suggest that you would change careers every 5 years.
Yeah. So now when it goes to 6, it gets to 7, you're like, hey, say, no, this is not right. I mean, I was like, hey, no, I've got to change something. So I had to look myself within, and I started doing a self-retrospection. What am I doing wrong? I said, I need to take responsibility of myself and not blame and say the company is not promoting me, they don't like me. No, I said, no, what am I not doing?
Were you with the Emirates then for 7 years? Is that what you're saying?
No, it was, I was in the same position for 7 years. I joined Emirates in 2002.
But with the Emirates, or it's another one?
Yeah, no, just with Emirates in Dubai, but that's the only airline I've worked for.
Okay.
Yeah. So because there's other different grades other levels that you do work on those levels before you get to supervisor. So I'd done those ones already.
Yeah.
And I didn't stay longer in those positions.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a subordinate to this as long as I did when I got to supervisor. And I thought myself, 7 years is a long time. It's just not right.
Yeah.
You know, now people start asking you questions, hey, why are you in position for this? You know, then it starts getting your attention. It's just getting your attention. They're like, hey, wait a minute. No, this is not right. And I can guarantee you, the moment I disconnected from these things and people and places, a few months down the line, honestly, I got accepted into my promotion.
Wow.
And this goes back, you remember when Abraham had Lot all the time. But
That's
when
right.
Lot, he received his blessing. Sometimes there are people who are holding you back and you don't realize
Mhm.
they're not good
And
for
they
you.
are riding on your coattail.
They're already on your coattail. Exactly.
I thought about Lot a while ago, and yeah, I see it, I think, from a very different perspective than others, but that's another story for another day. But that would be one of the things that God told Abraham to go, and Lot went with him. Based on what? Because we are relatives? That's not how it works.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. And the guy was in trouble from the beginning, and then look where he ended up, in a cave. That's what
Yeah.
happens. In a cave with your stupid daughters trying to sleep with you, or they actually have.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, really? Drunk in a cave with all your possession gone, your wife is gone, and your two dumb daughters getting pregnant by you. So yeah, really,
Yeah.
very good trick. In my opinion, he should have stayed back where he was.
Yeah, because you see that like his idea of dragging family and everywhere. I'm not saying we don't love our families, but we need to understand that our families, everybody has their own calling, everybody has their own interests,
Yeah,
everybody has like, and I always give this example and I tell people, I have a twin sister and everybody has a different calling. It's not that we are not succeeding in whatever we're doing. Yes, we are, but everybody has a different calling.
that's right.
Everybody, I cannot start forcing her to start doing the things that I'm doing because we're twin sisters. No,
That's not how it works.
not how it works, because
It
it's that
doesn't go by relatives, It
it
doesn't
doesn't go
go
by
by
relative.
blood.
Yeah, and again, now when you come into the family of Christ, when you're born again, your DNA is supplanted to the same DNA
That's
as
right.
God. Then you see, yes, biological family is there, but now your family, your DNA, your spiritual DNA, the people
Yeah.
you're connected to, the family. Like you see, like every week in the office, I'm here in the office with Solomon, and he's like my manager there, and he's my brother at the same time.
Yeah.
So we have this relationship, we have this family that even like probably on a Saturday when I don't go in the office, I don't see him, I realize I've missed him.
Yeah.
You know, so you see, sometimes you don't have to drag your family all the way where you're going, because you might actually be destroying them, because you might be dragging them out of where they're supposed to be.
And also, I mean, it's almost like you're trying to carry your support system with you. And
Yeah.
if God tells you to go somewhere, like I traveled quite a lot, not just traveled, but I moved around. I lived in Argentina, very different continent, very different language. I didn't know anyone there. Nevertheless, that was my way to go there. That's where I had to go at the time because of work and things like that. And then I moved to the States. I didn't know in that part anybody apart from Apostle. I didn't know anybody there. And even though I just met him, so it's like God really places me to very different situations, not like others very much. So if they try to hold me back based on their calling, that would not be right. So just because your family is, for instance, based in, I don't know, Abuja, Kenya, wherever, maybe that's where they're supposed to be, but that doesn't tell you where you're supposed to be. Your calling is still your calling. Here you are, moving around because that's where God tells you to. And same with me, a lot of people in my family move around, but not as much as I moved around. And it's quite all right. And if they don't like it, that's fine. I know they don't understand it, but as long as they don't attack me, I'm fine, And they attack me, I cut them off, not a problem, even if they're siblings. Because just as you said, our earthly family is a blessing, but it can be also, not a blessing. I'm not going to say curse, but it can be also something that Satan is trying to, kind of hold you back or put some additional pressure on you that you're not supposed to have. Because when God tells you to move, to get out of your circumstances, to get out of your family, out of your father's house, just like, God told Abraham, he said it on purpose, because those people would have held him back, had he stayed.
Yeah.
But God had more for him than what he had over there. Yes. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing when God tells you something and you, of course, you step out, and then probably best to kind of cut everybody off unless God tells you anything different. But other than that, those people will hold you back. I know it from my own life.
Yeah.
Never succeeded, but they tried. Yeah, unbelievable. One of the close family members who somehow thinks that they are kind of like over me. They don't think that anymore because I kind of put my foot down. Well, I did put my foot down, that kind of, but it took me a while because I said, okay, I want to respect this family member because the person is older and things like that. But nevertheless, you know, the person would like, I would be on the road with Apostle, saving the world, doing everything that's in the Bible that people only dream of. And I did it for years. The person didn't know much what I did, but they said, oh, they would write me letters, long letters with capital letters. And I hate that when you, like in the meta communication, it's like screaming. You are not doing something right. You're supposed to do, and all in the name of God. And I just had to I began to show some of them to Apostle, and because he also knows the person, he's like, what? Does he even know what we do? I said, well, I don't think he does, but I don't think he cares either. He just wants to, share his own opinion and shares his own advice, which is not godly advice, regardless of the family ties and stuff. I'm talking about in human terms. So eventually, when one of these letters, every time I would see the not even the title, but just where it came from, bless you, where it came from, I was having this uneasy thing in my stomach. Oh my goodness, nothing that this person ever writes to me in the name of God, I don't know which God, not mine.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Would ever be constructive to me. But ever since my childhood, it's been this way. I know he means well, but he's just had zero self-awareness whatsoever. I mean, really, you don't do what we do, but you think you can somehow talk into
have an opinion about it. How?
It's not even an opinion in this case. It's like God says so. What? Really? And I said, and I finally said, after how many years of letters like this, some of them I just deleted, didn't even read them. And so I said, fine, you know what? We're gonna put a stop to this because I'm known to draw the line, but with this person, because of the family connection and because of the, maybe not, almost like a false humility sort of thing, I was like, okay, I want to be careful to honor him and all. But you know what? Sometimes you have to put your foot down, and very nicely, but very firmly, I wrote him, you know what? I have my father, and his name is Apostle Charles Sandifon. He is my man of God, not you. I never asked you for advices. You have no right to write me any kind of advices that as if they were coming from God, because that was the approach. And I want to tell the audience out there, if you ever have someone like this in your life and they give you unsolicited advice, career choices, something that's more of an advice, it's almost like, okay, this is what you need to do because that's what God says. Don't buy into it unless God tells you to. Put your foot down. So I had to do it as a, if I ever ask for your advice, then you can tell me. Other than that, I don't want to hear from you again in this fashion. This is our family relation, and I just list that. This is our family relation. I do respect you as such, and this will never change. But don't ever write me anything like this again, because I'm going to delete it. I won't even read it. And I have my man of God to back me up on that, because I will not let my focus broken by some stupid human. It's not even human. It's very devilish what he was doing, not even knowing about it. He didn't speak to me for the next few years. I couldn't care less. I didn't care. Now he's okay again.
I usually say,
but I know he was upset, but I don't care. Don't worry if they are get upset. Of course they're gonna get upset. They wanted to control you. Didn't work out. You put your foot down. Good for you. Bad for them.
Yeah. Yes. Because have you ever noticed when people come to you, and no matter what, even if it's in writing or words or just their presence, if it's over the phone or it's writing or their presence, and they have the wrong spirit, your tummy just churns.
You feel it, yeah.
Feel it, and you just like, okay, this is not right.
I know one person, but I would have to cut it out if I say it. Pastor Brian Ruben, not anymore, but every time I would see his stuff, I mean, this went on for years, and you and I discussed, I'm going to cut this out, of course, needless to say, but I have to see where it was, and because I know it's not coming from the right source, it's not coming from the right spirit, and it's not for the right reasons. The right reason. I know he's trying to use me for something. It's like, oh gosh, I'm so above you, not above, but I'm so beyond you in that I'm so ahead of you. I see what you're doing. I've seen people like this, like you, they didn't succeed, you won't either.
I usually say, you know what, if you want me to do something for you, just tell me. I'll do it. I'll make time for you. I will tell you, you know what, give me some time. I'm busy right now, but I will make time for you. Don't come around the mountain
Yeah,
like this.
exactly. That's just not our way.
Yeah, if you start coming at an angle, I will definitely notice it, and that will make me cut you off.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah.
Just tell me, and I will gladly do it, because one or another, I will find you out, and it's not going to end very well.
You know, many times these people just want attention, isn't it? And they want you to, they want to feel needed. Like they are not in your life, not in the way they would want to be, not in an advisory position or, you know, like any kind of mentorish position, but they kind of want to be. And
Yes.
that's what it is. That's what it seems to me. But they are going about this the wrong way, because this person, this particular person that I told you wrote letters and stuff, he also wrote to others as well, turns out, you know. Yeah, I know that was his mission in life, to kind of kind of
Proclaimed.
like, you know, kind of like rattle you in whatever you're doing, because that cannot be right. Because why exactly? So it's like, it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I was serving the Lord. Wasn't that what you prayed for all my life? Isn't that what you, I mean, wouldn't that be the prayer for everybody, for every siblings? And I'm pretty much the only one who does this full time in my family. So,
Exactly.
and
And
that's
again,
always been my dream. So what is your problem again?
yeah, and again, if you're thinking I'm doing something, so you're complaining on my behalf, I'm not complaining. I mean,
That's true.
like, exactly. You're taking Tylenol for my headache.
But you know what? It's so interesting, because this particular person never asked me how I'm. Well, okay, he did ask me how I'm doing, but he never asked me like, okay, tell me about the miracles, tell me about the cruises. He could have asked me anything, but even without zero information, he just knew that we are not doing something right, because that's not for the Bible. You know, this religious angle, that's not exactly what it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be teaching the people. As if we are. Do you even know that we are teaching the people? That's our number. Oh, okay. Then he come up with another thing. Like,
Something else.
really? Really? Watch TV, entertain yourself. I'm not here to entertain you. It's like, gosh, really? So yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean,
yeah, those sort of distractions, I know I usually just cut people off, and I just tell myself, you know, yeah.
with
And
family members, sometimes it's more tricky. You can't really cut them off like completely, but you know, the person can
yeah,
cover.
but you
That's
can put
not
them at a
good.
distance.
You know, because then for like years I haven't heard from him anything. He didn't respond to this letter. That's how I know he received it, because he never responded again. So okay, good. So he finally.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. You can put them at an angle. I usually say put them at an angle, and
You gotta hold your own. You put your foot down. You're an adult. Come on, really? It's just sometimes I'm just thinking, how can someone be so deceived? But I think when you're deceived, one of the main characteristics when you don't know that you're deceived. You're so out of touch with reality,
you're so in
people,
your own
zero self-awareness, whatever, leave me out of
yeah,
it.
yeah. But
So
I
yeah,
can
that's
tell
my
you,
story.
yeah, but I can tell you, for me, for sure, when I disconnected, it was for the best. And yeah, like I said, that like the enemy would always try to distract you by bringing these funny voices.
That's what it was, distraction, exactly.
Yeah, to distract you so that you veer off your calling. Now, here's the thing. After now, I became supervisor, and then I got my promotion. So finally, I got my promotion, and I had this 1 year of training and probation. So now I was now going for my graduation. Lo and behold, there was someone. See, that's just jealous people who they try to tell you what to do and how to do and how to do.
Mm-hmm.
Someone within the company sabotaged me.
No.
Sabotaged me. So we are going for the final interview. We're going for the assessment, and we were about 15 of us. I trained each and every single person there on how to give their presentation, how to present it, and how to prepare for it, and how to do the portfolio. So we all went in for the assessment and the interview. And guess who didn't pass? Me.
No.
Yeah. Everybody else that I trained passed. So I was like, excuse me? I was like, okay. They said, oh, yeah, you have to do another 2 months of review. I said, okay, you know what? It's okay. It's not a problem. So I told myself, I'm not going to argue with them, because I already know myself. You've already shown me my results. These
Yeah.
people that I have coached, because I was already a certified life coach, so I was coaching people I was just getting myself practice by doing it for free. So I already know my results because I can see the people
Yeah. Yeah. That
then
you're
already
successful.
I've
Yeah.
gone through, and I'm the one who coached them, and it's not like I'm bringing in anything different. So I didn't argue with them. I said, you know what, it's fine. 2 months,
Did they even tell you that you prepared the other two, the other people?
I don't know if they knew, to be honest. I
Because
don't
that's
know.
just ridiculous.
I don't think they knew, but you see, it was out of sabotage from somebody jealous.
Oh yeah, go figure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went back, I did the 2 months and said, but now still this somebody still sabotaged me. And this happens quite a lot in the aviation industry. People like to sabotage you so that they can get ahead of you. People believe they can get promotions by sabotaging someone and peddling lies.
Really?
They throw you under the bus. Now, here is the thing. The reason why I was thrown under the bus was because I'm the one who dots the I's and crosses the T's, the person of detail, the person of excellence. So it was coined the other different way, that I'm giving people a hard time by
Okay.
being, oh yeah. But all this is because of just being consistent, operating excellence, following, standards and things like that. Because people
Wouldn't
always,
that be an internal investigation in cases like that?
they should have been, but you see, now it depends on the person that I had as a manager. The people who want to look like they're working. So she knew it was wrong, because I spoke to a different manager and they told me that no, that was wrong. But I said to her, they said to me, oh, because what ended up happening is I ended up being demoted from manager.
Whoa.
Yes, it was that bad. I ended up being demoted from manager now back to supervisor. And I was like, I said, God, I don't like this, but I don't know what is going on. And I said, so I did try to appeal for it. She said, no, 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 blah, blah, blah. So she really wanted me to go back to her and plead with her. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I said, I'm bigger than that. And I know certainly well, if anybody makes a mistake, you tell them the mistake they have made. And you show them and you give them a chance to recover out of it. If they don't recover out of it, then you have every right to do what you want to do.
Did they even tell you what were the points you didn't pass?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Sounds so unprofessional.
Exactly. So that's why I knew that, because that time the internal managers were having promotion. So you see, she wanted to look like she was doing something.
Yeah.
She wanted to, she was doing something. Unfortunately, there's this sort of people in the corporate world.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So I was a victim. But so now the manager because I went back to supervisor, of course, now I had a different manager, and I spoke to her about it, and I said, hey, I will tell you the truth. I know I didn't do anything wrong. But this is not going to stop me from being excellent. It's not going to stop me from paying attention to detail, and it's not going to stop me from training people. So I knew this was a catch of the enemy. So you have to know yourself and know where you stand. And I spoke to God. I said, God, I need you to tell me, you are my only judge. What did I do? He told me you didn't do anything. I said, okay. I said, so I just need you to give me the grace to walk through this. Because think about it this way. We are in the aviation industry. We have over 15,000 people. Aviation, especially cabin crew, they are self-made journalists. They talk.
Yes, I heard about that.
Oh, they talk even things that they have no idea about. They just talk.
Yeah.
They talk. So you can imagine, I was the one on the tabloid for a long time.
Okay.
Everyone was talking about this horrible person. She's horrible. She's mean to the crew. She's mean. She's that.
But there were no complaints against you. So how could they bring that accusation? I mean, this is not accusation. It's just allegations, really, because that's a legal case.
Because if there was complaints, you'd show me and tell me, okay, this and this person.
Exactly. If there were no complaints, then how can they believe them? It's just as long as there are just complaints. There are no complaints and no witnesses. It's just gossip.
But you see, let's say there was a complaint, because I believe there's someone somewhere who must have not been happy about something, but why would they complain? Why were they corrected?
Yeah.
This is the question. Why were they corrected? What did they do? People, when they're wrong, some people, when they're wrong, when they make mistakes and they're corrected, they don't want to accept that they are wrong.
Of course, yeah. Most people don't
want to accept correction. So they will go and paint you as the bad cop because you're doing your job. But you see, they're forgetting something about this in leadership. I don't take sides. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I don't take sides.
I can relate.
I don't take sides, even if it's my sister who's going to be working with. I don't take sides with anybody because I'm not serving you. I'm doing my job, serving as unto the Lord.
It's
Because
not personal. It's
not
it's a
personal.
job.
Yeah.
I mean, you as a professional understand that, and somebody doesn't understand that, then it's their problem because they are being taking it personal.
Personally, I don't take sides. If there's anything to be corrected, I will correct it because number one, I know this very well. When you're managing a team, if I take sides with one person, you know how if you want to know how the team watch you as a leader, just bend the rules 1 second like this.
Yeah.
You will hear it. But again, I was not doing that out of fear. I was doing it that I need to be equal with everybody. I need to be treating everybody the same. If there's correction to be made, correction to be made. If no one has correction, if there's appraisal to be made, you appraise someone for their good, right?
That's right.
So I don't take sides. And yes, I know I have very high standards and I can be very strict. Yes, I'm known for that, but I can't change that because it is for me, because I'm only upholding the kingdom standards.
That's right.
Leadership. So when I spoke to my manager about this, the one that has now transferred to, she told me that, yeah, she knows that I didn't do anything wrong. And she knows that I was sabotaged. And I told her, listen, I don't want you to do anything about it. She wants me to go back. And then I said to her, okay, what do you want me to do? You see, now, when people do this, now you have to manage them. Don't do things according to the way you think you're going to do it. I asked her, so what do you want me to do? She said, okay, for the next 6 months, I want you to do this, and every month you give me progress. I told her, okay, no problem, I'll bring that for you. Not a problem for me. As long as I'm following instructions, I'm one person who follows instructions. I'm a law-abiding citizen in heaven and here on earth. So for me, it's not difficult. So I said, you want me to bring you my progress? She said, no problem, I'll bring you the progress. I became a nuisance to her because I was in her office every 2 weeks with progress.
The one who sabotaged you?
No, not the one I was transferred. No. Yeah.
Not the one who sabotaged you?
No, not the one who sabotaged. Because now you see, I was a manager. When you're managers,
you have
different branch. So when you're supervisor, you have different managers.
Okay.
But you see, whatever I was doing, of course, she would be told. So I just became a nuisance with good progress. Every 2 weeks, no, it reached a point she didn't want to see me. The only time she only had to have me back only for 2 months. She had to put me forward. She had to put me back. She said, no, she's excellent. I've seen her work and I know she can do it. No, no. Seriously, she couldn't stand me now because you want progress report, I'll bring it to you. You know, for me, it's not difficult because this is my second nature.
Yes.
So what I did
within 2 months, you were promoted?
Yeah, it became a total of 3 months. I was promoted back.
Promoted back to where you were demoted from?
Yeah, okay. Back to manager. Yeah, because so now what happened? But before now, when I went to this manager and she told me, okay, well, you will have to do all this 6. They had said 6 months at first, and I told her no problem. So what I did, I went home. This particular manager who sabotaged me, together with another lady, I called them specifically at different times and I spoke to them and I thanked them for working with them. You see, you have to do something they're not expecting because you see, they're expecting you to cry your eyes out. Was I disappointed? Yes, I was. But I decided I was going to be the bigger person in this. One thing about me, I never ran away from trouble. I actually walk to it and I deal with it. So I called them at different times and I said, you know what? I appreciate working with you. I'm sure it was great. Hopefully in future we'll work again together another time. I don't know, but I just wanted to say thank you personally. So people are surprised. Why would you do that?
What did she say?
She's like, oh, you know, I feel so bad. I told her, why do you feel so bad? You don't have to. I told her, you have actually given me.
That's called admission of guilt.
Yeah.
You should have taken her to court. No, I'm not saying, of course, you shouldn't have, but I'm just saying you could have, because that's an admission of guilt. That's what it is. I'm a law nerd, by the way, so I know the law in and out very well. So,
yeah, so I know that, and I could have even gone to the president of the company and stuff, but I told myself, you know what? I said, God, what do you want me to do? God told me, go back and do it. It's not going to be 6 months. So I knew it wasn't going to be 6 months. So after 2 months, one day I was in the house and then I see my phone ringing. It was now this manager who sabotaged me calling me because they've looked at my file again, my portfolio, they've evaluated it, and they see I'm excelling in everything. So she was calling me. God told me, don't answer that phone call.
What was she going to say though?
Because she's now, you see, guilt, she's now pretending she's the one who's put me back to.
Oh,
yeah. But you see, I knew it out of divine intervention. God told me, and when that call came in, I knew what it was. So the reason why God did not have me answer it is so that she puts it in writing.
Okay.
Let her put it in writing. Because you see, these other things she did, they were not in writing. So even it would have been my word against hers.
Yeah, of course.
Although people would have justified it's true, because of course now I'm in this position and I'm not in this position again in X, Y, Z. But God told me, don't answer that. So she called me 3 times. I didn't answer. And God told me 6 p.m. check your email, my corporate email. And I checked my corporate email for sure. There's an email I was being called back to the office for evaluation, and I passed and I graduated. But God told me, whatever they ask you, just do it. Was it difficult? Yes. But I said, God, you're the only one who's going to give me strength. And I remember very well, God told me, one day you will understand why I allowed this to happen. Because think about it, one time you're a manager, and you see, as managers, we have a totally different executive uniform from everybody else. And then after almost a year, or you're taken back, you're dressed like you're like the rest.
Okay.
You know how intimidating that is?
Yeah. Humiliating, yeah.
It's humiliating. But I said, God, you have to help me push through.
Yeah.
And I did.
No matter how you dress, you always done that. So
yeah. So and I said, no, you have to help me push. But His grace is what pushed me through. It pushed me through. But from that day onwards, I said, Lord, this was not right. I don't like what they did, but I'm going to be the one who's going to make a difference to this sort of leadership. And that was the birth of Kingdom Leadership Academy.
Wow.
Because I said, I'm going to change it. I said, nobody is going to suffer for how I did out of being mismanaged. Because that was evil practice. You cannot call it anything else.
Of course it is.
Because regardless of what I have done, tell me. Don't just throw me under the bus and don't tell me what I've done. Tell me. It's fine. If that's the decision you made, yes, but why? Why have you made this decision? You see, in leadership, communication is very, very important. It's very, very important. Especially when you're dealing with people, you have to involve them in every step of things. Don't make assumptions just because you want something a certain way. It's okay for everybody. I understand some people might have the wrong suggestions, some wrong or whatever thoughts, some very bad stuff to talk, but involve people, give people a chance. And if people have made a mistake, correct them with love.
That's right, always.
Correct them with love. I'm telling you, so now when all this happened, and then I had not finished, at that time I had just done my life coach training, and I'd just done the basic foundation of NLP training. I had not finished my master NLP training. So I did my master NLP training after that. So, and I said, because now I need all these things. I need life coaching training because I need to know how I understand and relate with people. I said, yes, I know I can do it, but you've got to be trained. You've got to polish your diamond, right? And I did the NLP master trainings because I wanted to understand the neurolingual programming of people, according to how people understanding communication to self and others, and how to deal with people, how different people respond. Because I said, I am going to be the one who's going to make a difference in this. I said, it might not be in the airline, but even it's going to be out there somewhere.
Right, it's good everywhere. It's not going to be any kind of career choice.
If I wasn't a strong person, and then you're under this sort of leadership, these are the sort of people who end up destroying other people. You destroy other people's future. Because as a leader, as a manager, the people's destinies are in your hands. And after I finished that, and that's when I decided, okay, now what am I doing? I said, okay, I need to know how to create courses, how I'm going to train people into this, into leadership, into managing people the right way, being confident, being dynamic, being all this. That's when I went into the Professional Speakers Academy. First, I actually went to the university first. I joined the university after I graduated the university. Then I joined the academy. So the academy, I'm still with the academy till now, by the way. The academy is just an academy. I'm a member there, lifetime membership I have. So every 3 months we have training. We build up courses, we refresh the things, we see what people are doing, we talk about coaching people and how, we just, it's still there. So basically this, I don't know, how would I call it? From pain to purpose. So my pain, I used my pain to launch my purpose of kingdom leadership. Yeah, because I said nothing, God does not waste anything, but he uses everything.
That's right.
He doesn't waste anything, but he uses everything. So I said to myself, I have learned quite a lot of things on here. It was painful. It was daunting. It was degrading. It was everything horrible about it. But I said, I'll take my pain and turn it to my purpose. And look at it. This is actually now what brought me all here. So now, how did I know this is my purpose? Because God was leading me to it every step by step.
So your test became your testimony.
Yes. So and that day I remember when people were telling me, no, you can sue this lady, you can sue this lady. I said, God, I want you to fight this battle for me, because I knew the enemy was trying to push me out of it. And I said, as long as I live, I'm not going to walk out of the call of God for my life. I remember that day telling my friend, she lives in the UK, she's from Zambia. Like, no, Marjorie, you can't do this. Why don't you just quit your job, because that is so embarrassing. I said, no, I'm not. I said to her, I'm not quitting, and I'm going to stay, and I'm going to go back to I had that option. I could have.
Of course you could have, yeah.
And I have a friend in the UK as well, and he has this company. He was setting up 2 companies. He said, hey, why don't you come and be my manager? I said, no, I'm not leaving.
Because you don't want to live with defeat, though. So I'm glad you stood your ground and you came out victorious.
Yeah, and I said, it's unpleasant. I don't like it, but I said, I cannot run away. Why should I?
That's right. And for the whole life, you would look back at it had you left. Like, yes. I left, I ran away from the challenge. And
I said, no, I said, God, you're good. And I said, as long as I live, I'm not going to walk away from the calling of God in my life. I remember saying this statement, and now I cut everybody out, because let me tell you, when such a thing happens is when now everybody comes with their opinions. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to go there. I said, no. I disconnected my landline, mobile, changed my number, everything was. I said, I don't want to hear anybody else. Yeah. God, it is you and I. That's it. And I follow that part. And for sure, in 2 months, I had a turnaround, because I listened to God and I listened to my own convictions, and I worked towards what I wanted to change. Then after I graduated and all this, and then I went to this professional speakers academy, and then to the university, and then the academy. And I graduated and I created courses. I have launched the Kingdom Leadership Academy. And now when I started launching the Kingdom Leadership Academy, of course, it's new, setting up courses. I always don't know what I'm doing. I had a mentor in the UK, in the academy. He's great, don't get me wrong, but I knew something was still missing, because I was looking to myself, I told myself, I need the kingdom principles of this. He was in contact with Apostle already at that time, but I was in and out of daily, because I was in a totally different church, So one day I'm having a meeting with him and I'm talking to him about it. He's like, hey, then he goes like, yeah, why don't we just go forward with this leadership academy? I said, okay. Then he told me, well, I've done a couple of leadership meetings before. He told me to look to YouTube. Lo and behold, I went to look at his leadership meetings, the ones he's done, I think even as far back as 7-8 years ago at that time, because he's always been doing these things, Every little thing that I was going to put in that course, I was just missing. I knew it's going to Leadership Academy, but I was thinking there's something missing here. What sort of Leadership Academy? And he gave me the name. He told me it's Kingdom Leadership Academy. Every single thing, any other courses, 8 things that I needed to add on there, Dad had already talked about these things about 7 years ago. So imagine that was now my launching part. God had already prepared everything. So imagine if I quit. This is why I tell people, no matter how difficult or bad it looks, and do not run away from that situation. And another statement I always say, where the cloud is forming is where it's going to be raining, and it's going to be rain of abundance. Yes, because you see, if the cloud is forming here and it's dark, it's gloomy, there's lightning, there's thunder, it's scary, right? But there's going to be showers of blessing.
And it's dark.
Yeah, and it's dark.
I personally love those beautiful, but dangerous terrifying, those tornado things. I have this follow tornado. I love those. I have a wonderful kayaker friend of mine who's at he was in the Olympics team as well, so he's quite good. But then he trained himself to be a pilot. So I would always, so now he travels around the world and piloting planes. So I would always send him those cloud pictures, and he would always, because they have to learn how this, and he would always explain them to me as well. I wouldn't fly into one of these things like that. So yeah, but I personally love those. They are beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I always say where the cloud is forming, where there's the dark cloud, that thunderstorm, and that's where the rain is going to fall. And that's where you need to stay. And if it's a storm, you need to stay at the center and don't move, because it's always calm at the eye of the storm.
That's
Because
right.
if you go to the side, you will be thrown out.
That's
So
true.
you need to stay there and stand your ground, dig your heels in, and you'll come out victorious, you'll come out shining. And nobody understood how, and then everyone was shocked and everyone was surprised, because it's never, because such situations had happened. There's a bit of history of such things happening in the airline, and people would either just quit and become a mess and not make an effort of going back to that position, or people will just resign and go, and people just become, nobody went through really with it. So everybody was surprised that I did it. Now you see, out of becoming a tabloid of shame, I became a tabloid of glory.
Exactly.
I became a tabloid of glory. And these same people who sabotaged me, they now even used to recommend me to other managers.
Yeah.
You're thinking, wow, is this amazing? I said, when you just tell yourself, no, I'm not a quitter, I'm not quitting, and this pain, I'm going to turn it around for purpose. Never let your pain go away, because there's always a learning point in everything. There's a learning point in everything.
Always. Yeah, always. And sometimes you can always just look back, and that's when you understand. Sometimes when you go through it, it doesn't make sense. Like, how on earth, how did I get here? I trained everybody, I should be there. Yeah, I should be there. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. But God, through it all, it made sense, because now you become a living testimony, not just anybody, but you are the Marjorie.
Actually, having said that, I think I should write a book, From Pain to Purpose. That sounds like a good title, right?
Sounds like a good title.
Yeah, From Pain to Purpose. You take your pain to purpose. Yeah.
I think people need to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and eventually, imagine I succeeded, and then I connected with that, and he helped me out with all these things. And now because I told you, like I mentioned earlier, I was still in the previous church and stuff, and it was a very religious setup that sometimes, that's why I was sometimes on and off, and did some things. I don't want to judge them, don't get me wrong, but I knew, I was like thinking something is really missing. Then one night I remember I was sleeping, and God told me, I'm going to change you from where you are, and I'm going to put you to your right spiritual father.
Wow.
I'm going to put you to your right spiritual father. And so the day I was having this meeting with Apostle Charles, I knew him that already before, but I had not thought about it that way. And God had told me that you're going to be a PA for a great man of God. So I was not thinking it's him. I don't know. Imagine your answer is always right in front of you, and you don't. So now when I was talking to him, that meeting, I was showing him more whatever it is I'm doing with the Kingdom Leadership Academy, because he used to mentor me here and there a little bit. And he said to me, this is a meeting of destiny. I laughed. I laughed. Ask him, he will tell you. I laughed. And I was like, but I believe you, because I know divinity when I see divinity. And I know when, I know that can be funny sometimes, he can joke and this, but I know when he's speaking from a point, it's just not him speaking.
That's right.
And this is one thing I would tell people, you need to, no matter great man of God he is, yes, he will laugh with us sometimes and make jokes and even make fun of you, but don't miss that divinity. Don't miss that divinity, and don't overlook it.
Absolutely.
Don't miss. Yes, I'm not saying we should not laugh. Yes, it's going to make us laugh. He's going to joke with us, but don't miss that divinity. Because the moment you miss that divinity, you've lost it. You've lost it. You've completely lost it. Because I remember that day, I remember it very well. And told me, do you know, this is a meeting of destiny. I actually laughed, but I told him, I said, you know what? I believe you. I believe you, and I trust you. And then I remember when God told me that I'm going to change you to a spiritual authority, I'll put you to the right spiritual authority. And I remember seeing him seated at some place, and he was sitting at a place and holding the Bible. Then there's a day he was transiting through Dubai. He was going to Africa. Was he going to Abuja? Or was he going to Kenya? Anyway, he was transiting through Dubai. Yeah. So anyway, what had happened is someone had broken into my car, and someone had and got my stuff got stolen in the car, some money, and my laptop and things like that. So like you and I don't have these friends that I hang out with here. So I picked him up from the airport. I was going to set up for a meeting and stuff. So, and then I told him what had happened. So now I don't have a laptop. I said, I've only got the lights, and I don't know, you know. So he's like, okay. So we started dealing with these things. So he had to take me to the police station and things like that. We dropped him these bags at the hotel, go to the police station, X. Then as I'm speaking to the police and I'm telling them about something, and then I turned and I looked at where he was seated, and there's a certain book he was holding.
Wow. And that's the picture you saw.
100%. Yeah. Then I knew this is it. I knew. And that's why I tell people, God never takes you by surprise. He never ever takes you by surprise. He reveals his mysteries, he reveals his secrets to his children so that you don't walk into the wrong things.
It's true.
Especially when it comes to spiritual matters. Especially when it comes to spiritual matters. And ever since I made that transition, Reka, I tell you, I've just been growing and growing and growing and everywhere and everywhere. Yeah, I just get in place, just learn this, you know, and I'm like, wow, this is what I wanted all along. And that and the Leadership Academy, it just grows every month. Every other time we have it, it's just growing and growing, and people are coming, very good testimonies from people as well. So, and imagine God had already done a lot of heavy lifting for me. So even the courses that we're putting in now in the online courses that we have, which will be launching, I think, in August, all those things that he'd already done it. Imagine. Yes. So what I would encourage people is stay your course, stand your ground, know your identity. Whatever God has called you to do, don't be swayed off by the wind. Don't even look at the wind. Focus. Stand your ground. Stand your ground and just fight that good. It's called a good fight of it because you've already won. You're victorious. Right. And whenever you
already won, you just have to finish.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes it looks impossible, but I always say impossible is where your things are. Fight that fight. Knock that wall down, punch it. If you're not punching it, kick it. If you're not kicking it, push. Then you start all over again.
That seems impossible. That's where God starts. That's where you end and God starts.
Yeah. You just have to stand there, and I'm telling you, you will shine. And because just like the Bible says, the light and the momentary affliction, that wind is coming on the side, it's pressing, you're being pressed down on every side. It is for a moment, but cannot be compared to the glory that is inside of you. Because you see, now what is inside of you is eternal and cannot be taken away from you. Because you see, that boldness has been strengthened, that faith muscle has been strengthened, that confidence has been strengthened. Your relationship with God has even been strengthened even more, because you know without a doubt, God will never leave you, never forsake you, because no matter what anybody tries to tell you, because that affliction was momentarily and it's gone. And it's gone. And that's why even sometimes, and you know, all those doubters, and nowadays they actually tell me, wow, I'm actually surprised you ended up actually setting at the Leadership Academy out of that story. I told them, yes. And I was very intentional about it. That's another thing. Be very intentional with things, because even the story that I started writing at the university, public speakers universities, is this story I'm just telling right now. Because stories sell. Stories sell. Because the story will always sell, because you have a story, and then there's an adversary, there's a villain, and there's a hero, and you're always the hero of your story.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Some people are just bystanders in their own life. That's not a good thing.
You can't be. And that's why, you know what, if you're a bystander in life, I'm sorry, God is not going to use you.
Yeah.
God does not employ lazy people.
Very true.
You cannot be a person you can do. Case in point, like how when Jesse went to Samuel's house to anoint David.
Mm-hmm.
And then of all these, how many sons did he have? Was it 7? So they came there. Shammah is coming, tall looking, I don't know, all handsome, blah, blah, blah. Abinadab is coming, probably doing that bounce or whatever. Telling Samuel, no, not this. Okay, bring the other one. No, not this. Then Jesse tells Samuel, no, this. Said, you don't have any other sons anymore? He said, no, I have one. He's out there, but that
Funny
one.
how no one thought of him to even call him just for that occasion.
Yeah. Because
they must have had servants to take care of the sheep until the guy comes, and then or something, at least witnesses, but nobody even thought of him.
Yeah, it's like, no,
I mean, that pretty much tells you everything about that family's dynamic, isn't it?
Exactly. There's one, but
you could hold a conference, like a psychological conference on that family dynamic alone.
Yeah.
You forgot the last son. Why exactly? Oh, because he's tending the sheep. Really? Why are the rest of you guys helping him? No, he was like a servant almost, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, leave that one. He's in the backyard. He said, no, call him, bring that one. And the moment he walked in, God said, rise up, anoint him. He's the one. Now, moral story of this is those other ones were hanging out in the house. The one who was busy is the one who was called in. And what was he doing? Prophetic again. He was tending the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
We are called to tend to the sheep.
That's right.
The flock. So he was already in training. God was already training him.
Absolutely.
So he was in training. He was tending the sheep, and he was training. And of course, he would see the birds coming in. The people know how many times he used that sling to shoot at birds. That's why when he hit Goliath, one shot and he was down.
That's right. That's right.
It was not just a one-day thing.
Champions are not trained in the ring. They are only discovered in the ring. So he was discovered, when he was with Goliath. But he was trained for how many years?
Trained in the backyard.
In the backyard, when no one saw him.
Yeah, and no one saw him. No one was seeing that. So when he just came there, he stood out. That's why now everybody's happy and was carrying him through the market.
One of his it's kind of deep teaching, but one of the things about that dynamic that goes on there, that one of the sons, I can't remember which one, I think the second son, but all of them seem to be handsome and tall except for David. He seemed to be short and all.
Short,
it's almost like he got the short end of the stick. Nevertheless, God looks at the heart. That's what he says.
Exactly. God looks at the heart.
But isn't it interesting that as those young, beautiful men walked in and they really saw that they would be the one? I can guarantee you they thought they would be the one. I mean, why wouldn't they be the one? And each of them would be like, probably there's a lot of family competition goes on there, between the sibling rivalry. But for one of them, Samuel really thought, okay, he must be the one. And the Lord said, no, the Lord has rejected him. Now that tells you something that he doesn't tell you, that God has actually considered him, but he rejected him for some reason.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing to be said about someone.
Exactly. And you see,
interesting?
Yeah, and this is where people need to watch out, especially in the kingdom. Sometimes you've seen it, I've seen it in people who try to come to the family. We've seen they come with all these flashing colors. And then maybe the people that want to come in the storm, they want to tell dad all these things. They want to,
they are professionals.
I mean,
what exactly?
And then you realize after some time, and where these people get caught out. Where they get caught out as well is that you see they start lacking. They're not consistent.
Yeah, well, he was consistently horrible.
Yeah.
Consistently unprofessional. So you have to give them.
Because you see, those people, and even
consistent in the wrong thing. That's not a good thing.
Dad taught about this. Was it during school of the spirit? And he said, just because someone is a professional does not mean they're an expert.
Yeah, professional by whose standards? That's the first thing.
Exactly. Some people are just self-proclaimed professionals.
Oh, yeah.
But you see, don't tell us this. Come and do it and be consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
We will believe in you and we will trust
I would much rather saying, you know what, I'm not sure about this, but I'm going to do it. And then I provide next sense words. Like, in other words, I under promise and over deliver.
In your
Upgrade yourself all the time. Upgrade your knowledge.
upgrade your knowledge, upgrade yourself, and most importantly, be coachable and be teachable.
Very true.
And when you are brought and introduced to something new, be open for new thoughts, be
Always.
open for new ways of thinking. And again, going back to exactly what I was saying about the meeting that I had with you when you trained me to the dead in the night. I intentionally decided to bow down every other knowledge and authority of leadership that I know, even though I had been a supervisor and a manager for a total of 15 years. I decided to pack that in a bag and leave it outside and put myself under you and learn what you have learned from Apostle, because I wasn't going to ask Apostle to train me on that one. No. But I knew I had to go to the go-to person now, the expert in this. I said, okay, and now tell me, what do I do? How do I do it? Does it make me any less of a person? No. What ends up happening, it makes me even better.
Of course.
And if I didn't do that, I would not have succeeded.
Yeah, because you just kind of shut down. Okay, I already know that, I've seen it, and you may have to some extent, but you don't know our flow.
Exactly.
And every flow is different, just like you are being trained, every company you go to, in every field,
yeah,
every is different. Some, the principles probably are the same, integrity, honesty, hard work, things like that. But how we flow, that's what Apostle always wants, but do they know my flow? Do they know our flow?
Exactly. This is the thing. And that's why I always tell people, when you come, let's say, for example, this family, when you come to a family or when you get anywhere else, leave whatever that you knew on the outside, go to this new place and embrace the new. I know sometimes people become creatures of habit. They're used to the normal and they just want to go
on. I think to be a creature of habit, I think you need to forget that mindset altogether, don't you think?
Exactly, yeah. For me, so I just don't like being a creature of habit. I think
every day we should renew, because God renews every day. God is different every day.
It's different.
Better. So just like I was yesterday telling someone that my ceiling of today should be tomorrow's floor.
Tomorrow's flow.
Always.
Yeah. Every day you have to become an excellent version of yourself and do something.
Never should cover. We should never cover, especially Christians. But I mean, even those who are not Christians, we should never feel like we know it all, because that's the end of everything. It's professional, it's anything, career. It's not a good mindset where you think you know it all, because you will never know it all. Number one, the world changes, profession changes, people change, things change, countries change. Everything changes all the time. I personally like it. Most people don't like it. Well, learn to adopt.
Personally, I like it, because you know what? The moment anybody starts thinking that they know it all, you've already failed.
Correct. Yeah.
You've already failed. How can you think you know it all? I don't know.
Pride. It's pride. That's what it is.
I might have a wealth of knowledge and stuff like that, but does not mean I know it all. It doesn't mean that I don't get, I was telling, I think it was Anna, I said, yeah, I still ask Reka questions sometimes of things, because I need to know how to get on. I need to know how to advance. And especially, I know she's an expert in this. She's been doing this for a very long time. I said, I still ask questions. Even Solomon, sometimes when I came here the first, after power school, after every service, I used to go to Solomon. I said, Solomon, I need you to give me feedback. I said, feedback. Okay, what did I do today? How was it? What should I do better? What I ask. It doesn't matter, because you see, in as much as Solomon is younger than me, but he has a lot of knowledge. He's
and he sees it from outside, from the audience perspective, and that's what you need. You need that feedback.
Yes, but and he's very wise. Because think about it. He's been on the road with Dad a lot of times, so he has a lot of knowledge. And he's been, you see, me previously, before coming here, I was doing things over Zoom. We're doing it over Zoom. It's very different when you're on site. Very different when you're on site. There's a different flow to things. So I used to ask him questions, even till now. I asked, and even how was I successful in doing Daily Boost all this while? It's because he's the one who guides me every day. And he says, okay, we do this, we're doing this, so you need to focus on this camera, look at this, blah, 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 do this. And he helped me, and I was successful. So the moment you start telling yourself, oh no, I know everything, or I can't be told anything, you're finished, basically.
Yeah. And it sounds ridiculous too, because how can you say, I know everything? Oh, really? Are you God?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like
Oh
that.
yeah.
The moment you start to come to this conclusion that you probably know it all, sure sign that you are downhill. You're going
Yeah.
downhill, because like it sounds ridiculous. You already have an inflated ego. So I don't want to work with you. If you know it
Yeah.
all, then you don't need me. But then you're going to fail because I won't have the chance to train you in anything. So it's like
Yeah,
not a
absolutely.
good
Because
situation for you.
yeah, the moment you're not coachable, people will just leave their hands off and they'll say, okay, well,
Exactly. Yeah.
she's God, she knows everything, leave her alone.
People
Okay,
are
so,
funny. But yeah,
yeah,
you need to stay teachable, definitely.
you have to be coachable, you have to be teachable, you have to, because that's the only way you grow. That's the only way you grow. And there's always going to be someone who knows something more than you do.
That's the best place to be, because you are growing exponentially.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone who knows something more than you do, something better, something's good to me. It doesn't diminish anybody. It doesn't diminish you at all. Like even for example, when I was a manager, sometimes when I was managing flights and things like that, and you find probably very high profile millionaire in first class complaining his head out. I never used to take my supervisors to come and solve the problem, or even though I want to solve the problem, so I used to give my team the opportunity to solve the problem. So, or sometimes I'll take the most junior person on that fleet. The most junior person, probably they've been on duty for just maybe 6 months, and I would bring them on and I'd say, hey, I'd like you to speak to that customer. Let's speak to them.
And
And
that's why they learn. That's how they grow.
they learn. And that's the learn. And then I asked them a question. Okay, so what did you tell them? How did you speak to them? Then I learned what the tactic they used. Because everybody is different how we deal with situations. So you can also learn from people. I should tell your team, you can always learn from your team as well. It just doesn't mean, okay, well, I'm managing the team now, so I'm the big cheese here. No. I'm not listening to anybody. It's my way or highway. You talk 1 minute, you're short. You talk a second time, you're short twice.
You're too funny.
You know? Yeah, because there are people who are like that. Leadership is not
Not
dictatorship.
dictatorship, exactly. Yeah.
It's not dictatorship. It is influence. And you see, you don't exercise
And inspiration. You inspire those who are
time
under you to
so that
aspire to
people
your inspirations. Yeah.
people will follow you out of inspiration and not fear.
That's right. Very true.
Because if people are following you out of fear, then you are walking, you're not leading people because you're alone. You're alone and you won't influence people, because all the leadership is all about influencing people. You influence people in the direction that they should be going.
That's right.
And take it as a privilege. You have a privilege to impact this person's life. You have a privilege to turn around.
Yes, because also from the other side, you are responsible for them.
You are responsible. Exactly. That's why you should tell people. I was never liked, by the way, by a lot of people because of consistency and integrity. But you see,
that too much, probably.
Yeah, but you see, I had to do that because society, as long as you consider the bad cop because of integrity, but it's fine. As long as you know you're doing the right thing before God and before the company, and you are following the right person, and you know it's for the best of that person, you have nothing to worry about. And honestly, good leaders are not liked. Seriously, good leaders are not like, the moment you see someone who's a leader who's trying to please people, that person is not a leader. Just join the gang. I'm not saying everybody will hate you, and I'm not saying you should just be a horrible person, no, but a lot of people have resistance towards good leaders. This is an observation I made. As long as you are following standards, policies, procedures, you dot the I's and cross the T's, you are still standing out with excellence, especially excellence. You know what someone
getting on people's cases.
Yeah.
And most people don't like that, obviously. It sounds like my mother, it sounds like my father. But that, that's how you grow, that's how you learn. If they
why are you correcting me?
If they point at your things, then you have the chance to improve on yourself, right? But if no one gives you a proper feedback, or everybody says, you know what, you are great, you are awesome, and you really weren't, That's the end of it in
You're
my opinion.
destroying them.
Isn't it?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
destroying them because at the end of the day, Colossians 3:23 said, do what you do, not unto man, but as unto God. All leadership is from God. So when God puts people under you, it's because He wants you to take care of His children. You are not taking care of employees here. You are taking care of children of God. Remember that. So if you do not lead them the right way, you don't lead them to the right path, you are fully responsible for their failure. It might not be right there at that moment, at that time, but you are one way or another impacting their future. So they might not like it, as Pastor Donna was teaching last Sunday, and you say this, and she said this all the time. When sometimes her dad used to punish them, they used to tell them, "This hurts me more than it hurts you."
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, yes, you know they're not going to like it, but you might not want to do it. It might look painful to them, but it's for the good. Even the Bible says, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want." Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Correction is for your comfort. Correction is a gift for your destiny. Why am I saying? Because think about it. The Lord is your shepherd. If let's say He's shepherding this flock, if one of it just goes sideways, a shepherd always has a rod, right? So you have to
That's
tap
right.
it. So, and I can guarantee you, tapping that sheep to get back wasn't just a tap of this. It used to be hit, right? Exactly.
More like
Back to come. So when it comes back, automatically when that sheep, of course, comes back, it will know that not to go on the side. And what has happened? The rest will follow suit. They will know, oh, if we do this, we're going to go this way, we'll be smart. So that's why you have to be an equal opportunity offender. Everybody is the same. Everybody is the same. Correction, people would not like correction, but for me, I've grown to embrace correction at any point. If I made a mistake and I actually realize it myself at first and I'll own up to it. If I don't realize it and it's brought to my attention, I take it with a scone and cup of tea, and I embrace it and I correct myself. I ask myself questions like, okay, what will I do differently this time?
call yourself to a meeting.
Yes.
I'll never forget the sentence.
I ask myself questions because the most important thing is always to take responsibility of yourself. Don't play the blame game. You're not a victim. Don't be a victim. Sometimes we just victimize ourselves just because we don't want to accept something. So I don't play victim. I take responsibility of myself. Even though I know that person was wrong, I would ask myself, what did I do that made them make this mistake? So that I don't give another person that chance to make that mistake with me. There's always a way to go about it. Learn from it, take responsibility of yourself, and move along.
Yes, correction, whether it's self-correction or someone else corrects you, it's always for the betterment of yourself.
Always for the best, yeah. It's always for the best. And that memory will always be with you. It will always protect you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
It
has been an absolute honor. So from pain to purpose.
Purpose, yes.
Pain to purpose. I'm looking forward to your book.
I definitely will be writing one.
Praise God. Maybe more than one.
Exactly.
You're going to find that when you write one book, you're just never going to be enough. It's always a process. By the time you finish with one book, you just feel like another one is coming. That has been my experience. So
yeah. Oh, good stuff. Yeah. Oh, it's always a pleasure to be on the show with you, or even off the show.
Anytime.
My inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good because it's good to talk with people of like hearts and like minds. And people who can talk with ease, but at the same time, with humor, but we do discuss things that are important.
Yeah.
And I think it's always important and it's always a good thing to kind of envelop the harder or perhaps not that easy
things with a great things.
With sort of like a humor.
Yeah, like a sandwich.
Because it's easier for people to take it. To understand.
Yeah, exactly.
So from pain to purpose, but I mean, people understand the whole essence of your story, and thank you for sharing it. And I know you have been a great blessing to me personally, as well as to the audience.
Oh, you have been a blessing to me, and I'm glad I've been here, and I'm actually excited that I've been able to share my story, and I believe it's an encouraging point for
You should
anybody.
come back again. Whenever you have another story, just let me know and
Absolutely.
I will move things around and I will put you there.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Because
thank
people
you
need
so
to hear
much.
that. They need to hear that they need to stand on their ground regardless of what happens, even if you're demoted,
Absolutely.
especially if you are demoted unrighteously, unfairly. Stand your
Mhm.
ground and show yourself up very strong, because God
Yeah,
is fighting for you. And it's a
yeah,
great
always.
testimony. And I know that it has been blessing to those who were there. Maybe they never told you, but it has been a blessing to them. And they will always remember that, because this is something like a shining example and a beacon of hope for them, that you can be dealt with unfairly, unjustly, but you don't pick up the glove, so to speak, and you didn't, report the person. I mean, you could have gone to so many different ways, and you would have been within your right to do so, but you chose
Yeah,
a different path because that was what God told you. And it's
yeah,
good to obey, even when we don't understand quite well
yeah,
why exactly. But when you look back on it, you know that you have done it well. And
yeah,
that's the story. And thank you for joining us again. This has
absolutely.
been another edition of the PR show, Strong Opinion. Definitely you have a strong voice. Strong opinion in a strong voice, and you should be coming back again. So thank you for joining us. See you next time. God
Bye.
bless you.
God bless you too. Bye.